So here is the 6L80 converter from the 4.3 that I was going to use in this, and there was nuts on the back of this. Original intentions were to just drill out the rivet part of this nut, I guess, because they don't really weld them in. They just kind of squeeze them in, press them in, make it look like a rivet. So I drilled this side. The nut came off the back, and I was just going to use a bolt to come in this side here into this converter drive plate that I just tack welded the nuts on this side of. The reason why I welded them there is because of the trigger wheel on the M62 flywheel flex plate. These do not allow you to get a wrench, obviously, up in there to get on the back of these nuts. So all around, I figured we had this figured out, but putting these bolts in, I'm hitting the converter front cover right here. When you look in, you could actually see how it just sort of, get the light on, maybe you could see better. You can see the converter cover behind the hole. So you really don't have a lot of clearance back here. You know, I could make this work with, Allen head type of a bolt. That would be a pain in the balls. Or you can feed the transmission and the converter in slowly, and when you have a gap still between the mating surface of the engine and the transmission, yeah, you could sit there and spin this, have these bolts buried most of the way, and then start feeding it into the nut, turning the converter, spinning it in, the next one, and walking in the converter bolts along with the transmission. But that whole thing just sounds disgusting. In a pinch, you can do what you got to do. But I'm at this point now, so what I'm looking at is, can I use the original drive plate that used to spin the 5HP24? Well, if I chew off the ears, the original 3 big old ears on this converter, leaving the riveted front flange basically right at these lines, that would have to come off. And you can see, so if I kind of came right around here and just followed this all the way around, putting this in a lathe and chewing this whole front drive plate section off, leaving this center section here. I'm doing the same on this, except this isn't a one-piece unit. These are individual flanges. Alright, so we just added a bunch of work to this, but I want these flanges on that converter. So that's what we're going to attempt to do right now. So we're going to figure out how to cut these off, but while they're still bolted to that plate, and figure out a good spot and way to weld those 4 ears while they're still bolted to this original drive plate onto this converter, so that this converter can just bolt up to this drive plate. That would also be nice, because then I can use the original holes to put the converter bolts in from the front side. They leave you a nice big gaper to work in. So that's what we're shooting for.